Yes, everyone, what's going on? My name's Stephen Howson, and this is another transfer shortlist. Today we're going to be looking at centre forwards with the news that Odsonne Édouard might be leaving Manchester United, but might be staying at Manchester United. We thought it would be best to look at some of the options because it's very clear Solskjaer wants a striker, and if Odsonne goes, we definitely need a striker. So here's 5 strikers Manchester United could look to fill that gap. First up then is going to be Timo Werner. Now, I am going to make this one quick because I don't see very much chance of him playing anywhere else except for Liverpool. The papers have linked us, and I think it's literally that. The papers have linked us, therefore we are being linked. I don't think there's any real concrete evidence into it. I think that all of the talk that you've seen from him suggests that he's a massive fan of Jurgen Klopp, and he would have to do some serious renouncing of that if he was going to come back to Manchester United. That being said, the release clause being around about £48 million is not a lot of money for a striker the quality that Timo Werner is. Now, playing style, I think he's very much like Marcus Rashford. I think he's more two-footed than Marcus. I think he's better in the air than Marcus, but we have a player in that mould, and I think the mould of what Odsonne Édouard is, and certainly what I think Solskjaer was trying to bring in with some of the other forwards, is someone that offers us something different from Tony Marshall, something different from Mason Greenwood, something different from Marcus Rashford. Otherwise, why have you just got loads of strikers that can all do the same thing? Now, if you had such an amazing plan A style of play, that might be something that you can do, but United don't. We are more reactive. We definitely change our shape and our formation and mentality depending on who we're playing, and we have to have different ways of getting through a game and winning a game. That being said, Timo Werner has had a frankly ridiculous season for RB Leipzig. 30 goals and 12 assists in 39 games, which means every time he steps out onto the pitch, he's coming away with a goal contribution. That's nuts. That's amazing. He's still only 24. I think he's got energy and agility, and I saw him play in the flesh when me and Dave went over to Leipzig, and he scored. And I think he's got a brilliant set of all-round skills, and it'd be a nightmare if he went to Liverpool because he's a hell of a player. But I just don't see him coming to United. I think the most likely option is he probably stays put, or he goes to Liverpool, and Liverpool are just trying to negotiate on the price a little bit. But I just don't think United are going to get him. But at 50 million, he has to go on the shortlist, because if you just go, look, we just need to get a forward who's going to score us some goals, Timo Werner's that. Second on the list then is someone who's probably, out of everybody that's on the list, the most likely to end up at Manchester United, and that is Mousa Dembélé. I like him, and I think that he's probably someone that can be got quite cheap. I think the transfer value of him is probably in the 55 to 60 million at the absolute most, and that was in a high market. If there's going to be a deflated market this summer because of the pandemic, then you might actually see a bit of a reduction in the cost that some of these players move for. And if you move for somewhere like 40 to 50 million, I think that would be an absolutely fantastic buy for Manchester United. Still only 23 years of age, and this would be, despite Lyon's shocking campaign, the 5th season in which he's recorded 15 goals or more in the league. Now, obviously, he was at Celtic for a part of that, and you could say that the leagues that he's scored 15 or more goals in, I mean, this is every year since he was 18, haven't been the most respected, the most difficult leagues worldwide. The French league and the Scottish league are not the gold standard of football in the world. But he's still doing it. He's still excelling there. There's still been plenty of players come from both of those leagues and had great success in world football. So I don't think you can just write a player off because they're coming from what's perceived as being weaker leagues. He's got pace. He's got power. I think he's excellent in the air. Certainly better than what we've got in terms of Tony and Marcus in the air. I think he brings a slight difference. But if you lined up like Mason, Marcus, Tony, Mousa Dembélé kind of fits in that vein. I don't think he's different enough in terms of his style of play. He is a more direct number 9 than any of the ones that we've got, but there's a gap in between what Odsonne offers and what he offers. Maybe the club would be looking at potential resale value of him if you moved him on. I don't know. I don't think you can put Lyon's season down to him either. I think he's had a quite decent season in himself. I just think things have gone wrong elsewhere for Lyon. I think he's very gettable, and the name being linked to him constantly is something that I keep an eye on, because I do think that there's something in that. And I do think he would suit United's style of play. And maybe he's the sort of profile of player that isn't going to demand to start week in, week out and 250 grand a week. Maybe he's the sort of player that comes in and rotates in with the rest of the strikers that we've got and becomes a real team player. I mean, let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? Mousa Dembélé, would you say yes, or do you think you want to see improvement elsewhere before anyone big goes in for him? Third on the list then is a name that everybody's familiar with and everyone's probably been watching the shit out of in the last couple of weeks, and that's Erling Haaland. Now, Solskjaer very much wanted Erling Haaland. He debuted him at Molde. They've got history together. And I don't know what to believe. I don't know whether to believe the club entirely or whether to believe the player and Mino Raiola entirely. Both parties are known for, let's say, creating their own facts. Or spinning it however they want to. I don't think the truth is entirely what Haaland and Raiola are saying, and I don't think the truth is exactly what United are saying. I think the truth is probably somewhere down the middle. And if you're not aware, United was saying United didn't want the agent to be in charge of the deal, and Dortmund was saying we always wanted to go to Dortmund. But both parties seem to say, yes, there was terms agreed with Manchester United, but there were some things that weren't agreed, that were in the contract, namely this release clause. And the release clause is what actually gives United a chance of getting him. I think getting him this summer would be mad. The fact that he's been there 6 months. The fact that he's been there, well, when he was first there were still rumours that he was going to be going elsewhere this year. That's the nightmare that you get with Raiola, and that's the sort of circus that I will be glad to see the back of if Paul Pogba leaves. But then you have an absolute gem of a player like Erling Haaland and you go, oh, do I need to dance with the devil again? Do I need to go into this sort of relationship where I know I'm going to get fucked about, but is he worth it? Solskjaer knows the player and I trust Solskjaer's judgment on the footballer. But Raiola, could you ever trust Raiola with a footballer to just be happy and stay at a club long term? I'm not sure you could, to be honest. Now, this release clause is rumoured to be somewhere in the 60 million kind of range. Frankly, ridiculous for what he's gone on to do at Dortmund. There was question marks. All right, yeah, he did it in the Norwegian league. Was he going to Austria? Can he do it in Austrian league? Yeah, all right, he's done it in the Austrian league. Okay, they're in the Champions League this year, though. Can he do it in the Champions League? Oh, he's done it in the Champions League, right, okay. Can he do it in the Bundesliga, though, when everyone knows about, oh, he's done it in the Bundesliga. All right, okay, cool. At the end of the day, this kid is going to do it wherever you play him. Simple as. He's going to score goals. You bring him to the Prem, you put him at Bournemouth, he's scoring fucking goals left, right and centre. So 60 million for as much as a guarantee. There's no guarantees in football, but as much as a guarantee you're going to get of a player that's going to score goals. I'm tempted to start getting my dancing shoes on and bang on the speakers and get Raiola down for a bit of a waltz. He's worth it. Is he worth the hassle? You'd only be able to say, looking back, whether he was worth the hassle or not. I mean, Zlatan did manage to stay at PSG for, I think, 5 years. So maybe you can do it. Maybe that was because Zlatan was in his 30s and there was nowhere that was really prepared to pay him the sort of cash that he needed. Erling Haaland's worth it. I don't need to tell you what sort of player he is, but it's clear that he's different to what we've got, and it's clear that Solskjaer coveted the differences. And possibly we've seen why when we've seen the performances from Ighalo in the couple of months that we managed to actually see him, or the month, I guess, that we was actually able to see him. Haaland's got to be on the shortlist because we know Solskjaer wants him, we know Dortmund will sell, and we know Raiola loves a sign-on fee. So it's all possible to happen. I just don't think it'll happen this year. But I wouldn't say never, because we don't know what's going to happen when football returns. Would you lot take him? Let us know in the comments. Fourth on the list then, if one Nigerian is leaving, why not replace him with, well, one of his international teammates? And that's Victor Osimhen, which I've probably butchered the pronunciation of. So, I do like this kid. He reminds me very much of a taller version of Louis Saha. Louis Saha was quite short. This kid's 6'1", 21 years of age. Lit it up in Belgium last year. And has carried on the same sort of goal-scoring form. It was 20 goals in 36 last year in Belgium, and it's 18 in 38 this year in Ligue 1. Also managing to get a goal against Chelsea in the Champions League. He's explosive. He's got just ridiculous first 2 yard pace. Very much like Louis Ighalo used to say, was like a hand grenade. He'd just explode. He could jump ridiculous, and that first couple of yards, you weren't getting anywhere near him. And I think that's a massive, massive asset for a team that's probably likely to play on a counter. Because of his size, he's about 6'1". He's also a massive aerial threat, pardon the pun, but he's a big threat in the air, and he's someone that would get on the end of stuff, maybe a threat at set pieces, but also potentially be able to hold it up. He likes playing with his back to goal. He likes bringing other players into the game. He likes laying it off. Something that Louis Ighalo did very well. For someone so short, Louis Ighalo was excellent in the air. And I see a lot of this in Victor's game as well. I like him. Probably available very cheap. Again, he fits that sort of profile of young, hungry. Could he fit into Manchester United's system? I'm sure if we're not able to keep Ighalo will be able to give you the lowdown on whether or not he would be able to handle it. Played with him at international level. So it's probably worth checking out, at least. And I think as a United fan, I don't think that Ighalo would give you like a bum steer on him at all. So I reckon he could be one to check out. He's definitely going to be available quite cheap. And I think he could come and actually shock a few people. Number 5 on the shortlist then, and rounding it out is, there's a tangled web that we've been weaving here amongst all these players, looking at the sort of players that we can get in. And Mousa Dembélé is on the list as someone that I think is very likely to be the number 1 on that list in terms of gettability. Now, his replacement at Celtic, Odsonne Édouard, might be a suitable replacement at Old Trafford. Again, 6'1", good in the air, has scored, I think, 60 goals in about 126 appearances. Moved to Celtic from PSG. Scores a goal 1 every 2. It's not incredible, but he's got a lot of very good physical and mental attributes that would be a big asset in there. Again, like I said, good in the air, 6'1", quick, which is something that United have definitely been recruiting of late. And you look at that forward line, from Dan James to Rashford to Tony Marshall, Ighalo currently. Mason Greenwood, supposedly the fastest of the lot in terms of recorded speed, even though he doesn't look like he's really moving. And then potentially Jadon Sancho coming in there. Speed is definitely something that United have recruited in the final third and fostered in the final third. So someone like Édouard coming in, he's going to fit right into that sort of system. 22 years of age, fits that sort of profile of young striker with a lot going on. Excellent with the ball at his feet, composed, cool as a cucumber. Neil Lennon's had a lot of good things to say, calls him an outstanding footballer. Again, probably available quite cheap. 25 million has been touted as his recent valuation, which is frankly ridiculous. The same way that 20 million for Odsonne Édouard is frankly ridiculous and is an absolute steal. 25 million for Édouard, it almost feels like it's just worth having a risk, just in case he turns out to be mint. No, none of these are Ronaldo when he was at PSV. There's no one that's really that, oh my God, you need to get him right now. Fucking right now. We might already have that in Greenwood. With what he's doing physically is obviously not R9, but like there's some world-class qualities about his play. And I do think he ends up as a striker down the middle eventually, and hopefully Robin van Persie can come in and help teach him the wily old ways of a centre-forward, because all the way through the academy, he played in 4 or 5 different positions. He got on the ball, he got on the wing, he got down the middle. So there's a lot of his game that he's not known as a natural, and he has to learn. But one thing that he definitely has as a natural is a finishing ability and an absolute deadly killer instinct. But there's 5 players that I think could potentially replace Odsonne Édouard. Not really any short-term options in there. Ighalo probably is the short-term option if we want to go down that route. Everybody available at quite a reasonable price, including the likes of Timo Werner. Everyone there, a great age. Someone that could probably be at Old Trafford for a good 6 or 7 seasons at the very, very least, if not a decade. But let us know in the comments. Any that you think we've missed? Any that you would like to see on that list? Is there any chance of us getting one of those, do you think? let me know in the comments. But cheers for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to check out the Patreon group, which supports this channel all the way through the pandemic. It's been an absolute godsend. And for that, them guys get extra content and all sorts of stuff. And if you want in on some of that, then, like I said, check the link in the description. There's also links to some Paddock merch, which you can go and check out in there as well. We've got all sorts in there now. And the away kit will be dropping very, very soon. I could give you guys a bit of a sneak peek. Should I give you a sneak peek? It's going to be black and gold. Are we feeling it? Oh, it's going to be good, isn't it? You can check that out at the link in the description. But cheers for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Laters.